Good morning. We're going to continue to work on our lesson plans. And last week you got it all unpacked and you had that document. So what we're going to work on this week is starting to fill in the template. So I created another document with directions for what to get done this week. So this will be week 2 of working on the lesson plan. And what I decided to do was I actually just went ahead and made a new assignment with the template. That way it makes a copy just for you and for me so I can see what you're doing. I also numbered the parts to help you know what part you need to do and when you need to get those parts done. So if you started this last week, just make a copy of it and, or not make a copy of it, I'm sorry. Just copy and paste from the one that you started into the one that I just made for you so that I can see it as you're working on it rather than having for you to upload it and that kind of thing. What you guys are going to work on for this week is to start to fill this in. So boxes 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 10, and 11, if you look at the template, should come from your unpacking, okay? So the one that you're going to skip right now is the duration. You won't get that one until you've kind of gone through and thought about everything else and really kind of doing your script. So that'll be one of the last boxes you'll actually fill in. But the first ones on the list should just come right from your unpacking, so from the assignment that you filled in last week. Then what I want you to do is look at this reading that we did. And when you're on that reading, there were these different methods of instruction. So decide which one might be the real focus for most of your teaching within that lesson. You can actually do multiples of them, depending on how you're doing it. Remember that you are, think of it as like teaching the standards from the beginning. So decide what method might fit best, and then you'll fill that in on the box for your lesson plan here. For box number 9 will be your instructional method or instructional methods. So it could be more than one, depending on how that works. And then this is where you'll spend most of your time this week, is really searching for what materials, like what are you going to do, what's already out there, and or creating the meat of your lesson. So you're going to fill in boxes 12 to 18, and those are the ones that we've talked about and thought about when we did the lesson reflection, where you thought about in your own school classes that you've had, where you saw these things. So you're going to figure out, okay, well, what's going to be my anticipatory set? You've got your learning objective already, and you've got your purpose already. But then what's my input? Like, how are they going to acquire the information? What am I going to give to them to help them acquire that information? How are they going to model it to make sense of it? How are you going to check for understanding? What kind of guided practice are you going to need? And then what kind of closure? And then independent practice. So you're going to figure out all those parts for your lesson. And those will go into your lesson template for each of these boxes. So 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. Okay? So that's where you're going to spend the majority of your time. And as you're filling that out, think about how long you would need to spend on it in a class. With the students working to get that across to them. What you can do in here is you can either describe the anticipatory set. If it's a video, put a link to the video there. If it's a demonstration, put a link to what your demonstration would look like, how you would show that. And then here you can put a link to the input if it's like a worksheet or an assignment. Same thing with any of these. So whatever ways you're going to get that to the students. If this was a lecture, you could put a link to your lecture, your slide deck, if you're going to create a slide deck for that. So if this check for understanding is some questions, maybe it's a Google form, maybe it's a worksheet or a handout, whatever that's going to be, put the link to that there. So what I'm actually able to do this week is gather the parts that you're going to need create your whole lesson. So you're thinking about, okay, well, what would I do for my anticipatory set? What's my input? What's my assignment that's going to help them to learn it? How are they going to model it? All of these things. So you're gathering everything that's needed to put the whole final lesson together. And then that's what we'll do next week, is think about the step-by-step parts with your script and your questions and all the things that are necessary for that, along with final assessments down here. And we'll talk about the figure formative and summative assessments a little bit more. Some of that will come from some of these things too. But what I want you to do this week is really just focus on what are the parts that I need to put my lesson together. So what, doing some searching on Google, talking to your mentor teacher, let them know this is the standard I'm teaching, what materials might you be using for that, what handouts might be good, what practice worksheets, or what homework might you assign, what readings in a chapter. All of those things can be parts that you would use here. And so this week, you're going to really think about the what your lesson might be. What are the things that you would need for each of these steps to do your lesson? And then we'll finally get to like the whole meat and potatoes of the lesson down here. Okay? So let me know if you have questions. This is what you should be working on all week this week. So you've been at your placements already one day. So tomorrow in class, the students, the group B will be working on this, and I'll have a chance to kind of fill in some of the blanks and things that you're missing there. And then Wednesday at home, this is what you're working on. Thursday, group B will work on this at home. Group A will work on it here in class. And then Friday, you're at your placements again. So by the end of this week, you really need to have, like I said, 12 through 18 filled in. Up here, you will have filled in really already 1 through everything except 3. And then next week, we'll finish it up. So have a great week, and I look forward to seeing what you guys come up with this.